Lior, Eddie, Ben, and Lucci. Today, we're talking about how important is it to be likable. So, in our profession, when we go in to work with new teams or on new projects, sometimes people are seeing our face for the first time. Are you going in being the agile tyrant where you stick to the book and you're always uh, yelling at people to do what you want them to do, or do you take a different approach and maybe just take more of a sideline? I don't know. Curious to see how you guys feel about this topic. I think about this a lot in terms of building trust with teams and what that looks like. And sometimes being likable isn't always productive either. So throwing it to the group here. What do you guys think?
Well, I think it's crucially important. I think an important part of it is that the journey kind of changes the goal in a lot of the things we do, whereby if I have to convince a team to switch over to a new tool or take a new approach or try a new way of organizing themselves, um, if the end result is them using the tool, whether that came about by me saying, well, you have to use it because that's the mandate for the organization and get on with it, or if they end up using it because they trust me and they buy in and they agree to use it, it looks like the same result, but it's very, very different, right? So I'm not sure, like, do we, when we set our goals, when we have an objective in mind, do we need to put a lot of attention on how we get to that objective and how we get to that end result?
Well, let's back things up a step. One of the things that I tell the folks in the mentorship program is no one's ever glad to see us. We walk in someplace, the people that we're coaching, we're coming in, we're representing change. Change is scary. They're comfortable doing things the way they're comfortable doing things. At best, they're going to be skeptical. At worst, they're potentially going to look at us like we're just completely wasting their time. So if you have a need to be liked, that will handicap you. However, I think that being likable is a tool. So you can, bowl people over, or you can say, well, this is a mandate, we're doing it this way. You can get results that way. But if people like you, it's beneficial.
I would disagree a bit in that no one's ever happy to see you coming in as a change agent. I think it's a bit reductive, and I wonder if it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that kind of builds up over time. Obviously, the need to be liked and the want to be liked are very different, and you're totally correct. You can want for people to like you, but you can't need it. That'll hinder you. But do you not think, if you walk into a room expecting no one to like you, then no one's going to like you. And if you walk into a room expecting everyone to like you, then maybe they would.
But what I think is that if we are looking at from that point of view about being liked or no or likable, or it's like we are focusing our attention on the others, and how we don't have that control on the others, no? Maybe if we are I don't know, let's say we're going to use another tool and there's like more buy-in from a lot of people, we may conclude that, okay, maybe the way I'm leading this team is working and people trust me and they are buying it. However, you don't know for sure what's going to happen. So I think that, I don't know if that's the focus. I think that the focus is within the individual, and that he or she is doing the work aligned with his or her values and delivering the output that needs to be delivered. And that the way that the leader is leading the team is very important, as what you've said, Eddie. I think that the way that they achieve results, that would lead to then have a team that is committed to the team, to the goal of the team, and to the leader as well. But I don't know if it's a little bit confusing what I'm saying, but I'm trying to shift the focus.
No, that's a really good point. And that's an entry point for where levels could come into play here. So a coach whose value system is amber is going to just say, I've got a mandate from the boss. Here's how we have to do things. I don't really care how you feel about it. Someone coming from the orange level is going to put together all of the data and all of the statistics, and they're going to say, I'm going to show you the right way to do things. And if you argue with me, I will overwhelm you with data because I'm right. And someone coming in at green is going to really care about their relationships and going to really care about being liked. And that's where they might get in trouble, because they might lose sight of performance in order to get that likability, right? And we know that the integral coach is going to combine all three.
So let me ask a point to you. Before, Leo, you said being liked is going to help you. How do you think that compares with being respected? Do you think it's, and is there a difference between the two? In effect, are you liked because someone respects you even though they don't like your personality, but they like the fact that they can respect you? But broadly, is this can you succeed by being respected and not liked?
I think so.
I think so.
Is it an alternative strategy, or are they mutually exclusive? Or
I think you make a good point, because whether or not someone likes you is going to depend on their personality. So some people will like you and some people won't. And you could do your best to be affable and pleasant with people. You should. But if you're respected, I think you'll get what you're looking for.
Lucia, you were going to say something as well, I think.
Yes, I think that it's different. Somebody may not like you, however, if they respect you, they would they would work and towards that goal. However, I don't think that's the only thing. It's more than respect. It's respect and everything that we've talked in all of our videos. But being able to I don't know, to be to show through the work that this is okay, that they trust you, the quality of our work, the purpose or the goal of the team. It's more than the respect for the leader or the scrum master, I think.
Yeah. So if you were going to, let me boil it down then, if you were giving someone some advice, they're maybe a junior coach, or they're going into an organization that that you're kind of have worked with them in the past, is it more important that they go in and make sure that people like them, or is it more important that they go in and make sure people respect them?
In my opinion is, I don't know if it is respect also, but it's like doing to deliver their gift, like to do why they are there. I'm here. This is my purpose with this team. That's what I have to do, no matter if people like me.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if I'm being clear.
So you're trying to earn, I guess for me, it's more about, I would advise people to try and earn people's respect rather than earn people's favor.
Yes, of course. And also thinking about the bigger goal, right? Or the system or the team or whatever. But that's how I think that's when you won't doubt if you have to make a difficult decision, because if that decision would make up somebody don't like you anymore, no? If you have like clarity of what's best for the team and the project, then that's the way that you have to go, I think.
I think to sum it up, so I think we had a talk before about business attire once where we said, oh, I can go in a t-shirt to the office where everyone's wearing suits and still be respected. So I'll go in with a t-shirt. But someone said, well, if they respect you in a t-shirt, they probably respect you a little bit more in a suit too. And I think when it comes to trust or respect or anything, you can be respected without being liked, and you can be trusted without being liked. But if the person also liked you, it will always be a little bit more than they would have otherwise. I'm not sure in a Machiavellian way, I'm not sure if it's better to be feared or loved. I mean, he famously said it's better to be feared than to be loved if you can't be both. Obviously nice to be both. I think from what I've got from Lucia, and I think that the takeaway I would have is that it is nice to be liked, but you need to make very consciously aware with yourself what you are and what you are not willing to sacrifice in order to be liked, and where you draw the line. So do try to be liked as much as possible. It will get you more respect. It will get you more trust. But if it starts to take away from who you are as a person and your message and your purpose, then obviously don't sacrifice that to be liked. If it takes away from delivering something valuable to the team, then draw that line, and make sure that you're always kind of consciously questioning, where are my lines? Where do I cut it? And how far am I willing to go to be liked? And when am I kind of hurting myself because I have a need to be liked here?
And I think trust is huge. And I think people need to remember, you know, and this is where empathy comes into play. In many cases, we quite literally have their career in our hands. There are reorgs that happen, people get laid off. You know, if we're coming in there and we're, you know, they're having a bad performance review, maybe because they have engaged with a coach in the past that gave them bad advice, like whatever the story is, if you're throwing the Agile book at somebody without empathy to what do they personally need and how does it serve them in the context of, yeah, we want the company to be better and we want the team to be better, but how can we also bring the person, every individual along in that journey? I think empathy for what their needs are is how you build that trust.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you guys said. I think trust is really important. And I think picking your battles, to Eddie's point too, and figuring out what are the things that you really feel strongly about to deliver the gift that Lucci was talking about earlier. What are the things that you feel like you don't want to compromise on? And I'm thinking of a time when I was still pretty green in the industry and I was coaching a team that didn't want to do retros anymore, and I just started with them. And I was advocating for doing the retros instead of, they wanted to push it back to once a quarter. And I pleaded with them. It was a time where I was also very much trying to enforce the Agile book. I was very much like more of a take charge and a little more of like dictating what they should do. And I cringe to think about that now. But this was the one thing that I was like, please just like trust me on this. Like, it's going to be different this time. I'm going to do them differently. And 2 months, and they didn't like me at first. And 2 months later, the retros were paying off. They started to trust me and they eventually liked me. So, but it took longer to get them to like me because we were still figuring out the dynamics and how we were working together. And some of my approaches for one team didn't work so well with another, whereas another team did really well when I told them what I thought they should do. Whereas this other team gave me a lot more pushback. So I think it's a mixture of the trust and knowing yourself well enough to know what you can compromise on, and then also meeting people where they're at, because maybe they're just not ready to hear what you have to say and you need to let them come to that realization. Any other last thoughts? This has been one of my favorite sessions so far. This has been a really cool topic. I hope those of you watching found it interesting. Really curious to hear from you in our comments below. How do you engage with a new client? How do you engage with a new team? What does it look like to put your best foot forward to get people to trust you? Is it important to be liked, or do you not care at all? We would love to know either way. And please subscribe to our channel. We have more videos for you. We'll see you next time.